idea of best of 7, best of 9 for semi-finals then final. Although if we do go overtime a little bit, we might cut the final down from a best of 9 to a best of 7. Just depends on the time this is going to take as herO. He's going to open up a 12 pool here on Neo Tokyo Turbo Cruise. I mean, people think it's a small map, and here we go. So he's going to use it. Again, we forced this map to be played as the first map of the semi-finals because it's been played the least. As we have to the top right, our red Zerg Rogue up against the blue Protoss. In the bottom left-hand side, herO. Now, a 12 pool is not something you oftentimes see in a Zerg versus Protoss. It's often used in like a ZvZ matchup. But ZvP, you really have to get a lot done with it. Now, let's see what herO can do. As he scouts across the map pretty early here with this first probe, he's going to get across and head into the main base and pick up a little bit of info. So we'll see no hatchery, and this drone's going to make it look like, look at me, I want to get a hatchery. So herO isn't going to know about what this is just yet. As he moves up to the high ground here, he will see Zerglings about to pop. He will see the lack of drones and the fact that this is a 12 pool. So now herO knows what this opener is as the probe pulls forwards, and we'll get ready to drop down the Cyber Core as part of this wall. So trying to full wall here. We'll generally put down a second gateway as well. Obviously, with the probe scout, it's a pretty good setup to defend. Is this a full wall? Is there a gap? There is a gap. Okay, cool. So the Zeld can come out into this gap, which is exactly what you need. Stop the Lings getting to this pylon. And Rogue is, well, continue set up. He has a couple Lings in the drone, going to start fighting on towards that pylon here. Lings approaching the front, and Cyber Core will start to take some damage. herO holding the wall, and the Zeld trying to fight back and is going to get a few Zergling kills at the moment. So, a few shots going down. Lings are going to end up being pushed away. Second Zeld coming down then, and oh, if the Cyber Core that built up here. So what he's done is he let the pylon finish, he started the Cyber Core. Cyber Core has 1100 HP, so it has so much health to break through to get down. And that is a massive pain, because it means that Rogue is not going to be able to expand here. So Rogue currently unable to expand. And with no damage dealt against the 12 pool, it's not looking pretty. It is not looking pretty. He'll expand just a little bit before the Protoss player. Altogether, herO's definitely offset the fact that sometimes with this 12 pool, your Nexus will still be delayed because you went for so many structures to wall off with. As we do see the probe just going to back away out into the center of the map. Stargate on the way from herO in the main base as he gets this ready to go here in this first game. So, getting this started up. Just going to very quickly update the stream title, which I didn't do before, to the fact that this is now Rogue versus herO. Perfect. Alright, so a couple of depths going to shade forwards here from herO. Heading up in towards the high ground, and well, a couple of queens pulling back. The Zerglings finishing up there as well. A few drones continue to build at the moment. And we do see those couple of adepts again shading out back in towards the center. Ling is actually very quick to jump in towards that adept and doing some good damage. The other drones pulling over as well. We're just going to be seeing that single Zergling just moving backwards and forwards here. And as we do have the Warp Gate coming into play. So Warp Gate coming into play, Queen on the way up, and we do see this Adept of Rogue moving around the back of the natural expansion. Gets a good shot off onto a single drone there. A couple of assimilators building up here from herO as well. And we're just going to be up on 2 bases in the very near future. So going to be set up on 2 bases very shortly. Stepped able to pick off this Zergling 2. And this lair also just coming into play with that Spore Crawler to follow up. A couple more extractors being dropped down. Again, the robot facility getting started from herO as well. So all of this getting set to go. Rogue, 31 drones, 32 drones at the moment. Obviously watching for this Oracle to see if we can pick up some damage. Obviously Rogue is not in a position where he can really afford to lose drones after a bit of a tough opener. Has not put him into a great spot so far. Pulls back out in towards the middle of the map. The second Oracle going to join up as well. And then these drones start to get one shot, and that becomes very dangerous. As you're going to see the Rotron dropping down with the Evo Chamber as well. I mean, I would have kind of believed in a Nidus network here if it hadn't been for the Evo Chamber. The Evo Chamber is obviously a bit of a sell, which is like, I am going to actually just upgrade things. So, looks like it's just going to be 2 base roaches at the moment from Rogue. No extra shenanigans from there, at least until he'll hit +1 missile attack. Still no sign of a third hatchery, and that's the biggest thing for 12 pull. Your third hatchery is super delayed. And you compare it to the last series where players would expand into the third base at 2 minutes in the game. Now we're 5 minutes in the game, so that's a 3-minute delay on the third base compared to what some players go for in this ZvP matchup. Kind of tells you a little bit about kind of how this is going, right? Now roaches are pretty much the only choice you can make off of 2 bases because you don't have enough lava off of the hatcheries on 2 bases to play a Ling Bane style. So you're pretty much forced into roaches, and I mean Rogue embracing that fully by going into the missile attack upgrade. Waiting for the roach speed to get started probably as well. I'm not sure why that's not started up just yet. Probably just looking to line it up with +1. It is a faster upgrade than +1, so you can start it a bit later. But then the question becomes, why was the lair so early? Because then the lair's just been sat here not really doing anything for a little while. Apart from maybe kind of scaring herO a little bit. That's definitely a possibility. As you can see, those couple of queens pushing the oracles away. Infestation pit starting up from Rogue in the back of the natural expansion. And that War Prism heading up the left-hand side, although it pulls back. Decides to go over this way instead. I wonder if he just thinks about, well, this Overseer is obviously a target, but I wonder if the Overlord that's still kind of sat above the natural is also a target here. As he takes a moment to actually hit the Changeling, means the Overseer gets away. I wonder if this is just what he was maybe thinking of instead there. There's the Oracle sat over here, and you will see a third base now coming in from Rogue. He'll actually pop the Pulsar Beams on it because third hatchery barely has any health. He will be able to get the cancel. He's now going to go 2 queens against 2 oracles, but the queens have transfusions. That is not a fight you can win as the Protoss player, so herO ends up backing away. The Phoenix comes out and will kill off this Overseer in the end. So Overseer down. And, well, just the Archon still gathering up at the front. 4 extra gates coming through. herO's just saying, yeah, there's no way with the way you've set up in this game that you can survive an attack. We saw him doing similar things against Impact earlier where he got an early game lead and he was like, okay, I'm not going to let this macro up. I'm going to kill you in the very near future. As you see Rogue cleaning out a set of rocks here in the center. So opening up this pathway a little bit, although I think that's going to be something herO will be quite thankful for here soon. As Rogue's infestation bit going to be used for the Swarm Host. So get a Swarm Host up. Now he's not going to have a crazy number of Swarm Hosts. The Archon should be able to deal with this amount of Locust, but if he starts to build up a few more, then it does become more of an issue. As you have these slow zones slowing down the units wandering across the map here just a little bit. More Prism up into the main, and we'll unload a couple Archons. Start fighting against that Overlord, and we'll see the Swarm Host coming out. Transfuse saves the Overlord. That's really good information over herO, because now he knows what he's up against. And 5 more Swarm Hosts are still on the way up as Rogue pressing forwards, wanting to attack into this here. Well, High Templar going to be finishing up, and we do have the Archons back in the main. Going to find themselves a Queen, actually. The Spellcrawler moving forward to try and get the War Prism, although the War Prism is not going to sit around there for too long, as we're going to be seeing. Those drones are so stacked up. Rogue, no, 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 no. 12 workers. Oh, that's brutal. He's now on 33 drones against 53. That's such a lack of economy compared to where he should be at. The Locust moving in towards the third base now will look for a cancel. The cancel, I feel like, almost needs to come in, otherwise this is going to be a really tough position for him. He will force that, okay, so at least Rogue getting something here. So he'll have to rebuild this. Will not be allowed a third Nexus just yet. The Rogue is not building any more workers at all, so still just sort of sitting with this right now. As you can see the Oracle throwing down the Revelation on the Roaches and Ravagers in the front. Units going to start pressing up the right-hand side. Archon's dropping down. This fight's going to break out, although a few of the units being slowed from coming forwards due to those inhibitor zones. Roaches still getting pushed back. A couple of extra Locusts coming in. The issue is the Locusts are coming in disjointedly. The Swarm Hosts were not all on cooldown at the same time, and they still won't be. So those Locusts are just going down a few at a time, and I think herO's kind of happy with that, although Rogue's army supply is still kind of crazy. 113 to 70. Here come those Locusts. He's going to try and chase through the inhibitor zone as well, pushing the Roaches and Ravagers away to the upside. Back over to the left here, we're going to be seeing herO is coming across, ready to push in towards the third base right now. Hatchery is going to end up full. We still have the Prism in the main. This time it's with Zealots, not the Archons any longer. Units here to defend it though, and well, the Prism's actually going to go down. The Queen's in range there. So the Prism falls, but so does the third base off the Zerg player. So Rogue is going to be, well, actually cleaning up this army though, and there is barely any army left from herO. Rogue has 118 to 32 supply. What has this game turned into? I have absolutely no clue. What's up, Agumba, by the way? Thank you so much for the 335-person raid. Much appreciated. Thank you so much, as we have got a few Roaches and Ravagers heading down to the bottom left-hand side. Swarmhost coming through the center, and, well, I mean, there's just not that much here anymore from herO. His High Templars don't have Storm yet, so they have to morph into Archons, but they're not ready. So the Locusts are dropping down. There's just so many Swarmhosts. The Roaches and the Ravagers. He's going to pick up all these Zealots, and the 2-base Zerg at 10.5 minutes is actually on the verge of winning this game. The Archon goes down, and the Swarmhosts were absolutely the correct choice here, as Rogue will close this first game out to go up 1-0. Bottom right side, he is our red Zerg from Generic Green Wings. Up against the blue Protoss top left herO. See what he's going to bring to the party here now, as we do see him just going to scout across the map and, again, check to see if Rogue is up to anything crazy, although unlikely to see another 12 pool in this series. I mean, it's unlikely in the first place. Happened on that last map because it was pretty small, so I imagine. So, yeah, Probe coming across, looking to see what's going on as it heads down to the bottom right. Drone pops across, going to throw down a hatch here in a moment or so, so expansion starting up from Rogue already. That gateway from herO coming up in the top. So, back to a bit more of a standard ZvP opening so far. Tell you what, we are going to be absolute experts on Zerg versus Protoss by the end of today. Like, we are just seeing so much ZvP today, so hope you guys are taking notes. I'm going to be doing a test a little bit later, but it is actually crazy, like ZvP all the way through. Absolutely crazy up until now. Do you see this Overlord hanging out in the bottom right then? Other Overlord heading up across the top left-hand side. And the other game will be a little bit slow to get rolling. Again, hope you guys are all having fun. Again, let me know if you're new to the channel. I know there's a few people who are new here today coming in from the front page or so. So let me know if it's your first time tuning in or so, and let me know what you think of the games out in the chat. Love to hear from you guys, especially during the early game here, which is not going to be that crazy. I feel like familiarize with collision course as well with these mineral blocks that do kind of stop movement. We saw a really cool game between Impact and Keen yesterday, their final game of their series, where we saw so much action around the sides of the map because of these blockades in the middle. And I actually thought it was really cool, because very rarely do you see kind of a game revolve around the edges of a map as much as you see it revolve around the center. So it actually made some really cool stuff happen here, collision course. So that's pretty exciting to see as we have the Nexus just over halfway done. We're going to be seeing the Adept Chrono boosting out here as well. And there's the first tech choice from herO being placed down. So he's opting for the Stargate to get us started. Stargate begins to build. Third hatchery just over halfway done. As we do see this probe again being chased by a couple of Zerglings. So Lings hunting that down. They want it. Come back to us. Come and play. Interesting that herO's kept the probe in the main base. I guess maybe just too late to get it out with the queens on the low ground. So just trying to keep these Zerglings over here instead of heading across the map. Obviously the Adept about to arrive. Because the Ling's on the high ground, I wonder if he can come in and get a drone or two. He will dive in. He can obviously shade backwards in a moment. Start to get out of there. He'll at least force some lost mining time as the first drones. Yeah, you can see they're kind of pulling away. And he does get one kill. And there's the shade back. So in the end, the probe staying in the main base actually caused the death of a drone and a little bit of lost mining time. So definitely better than just trying to escape it through the natural unknown it was going to die. A couple of Adepts going shade forwards here, and they are going to be seeing the Adepts actually going to commit in. If the Lings aren't on top of those shades, then all of a sudden you are going to have a very tough time getting this around. And so the Adepts able to pick up 4 Zerglings super quickly. Just going to see them back on the way over to the far right side. The Adepts shading down to the low ground, and we'll get a couple of drones. Rogue really not having a great early game here. These Adepts causing chaos, and herO going to revel in it as he gets his Oracle up. Obviously, that's going to be a cause for concern for Rogue here. He'll probably take some more damage. That Oracle going to be finishing in a moment or two as those Lings coming all the way across to the upper left side of this. First Oracle coming forwards, and again the Zergling's just going to dive on by. More drones going down as the Oracle goes in towards that main base mineral line, so a couple workers being picked off right there. Again, Twilight Council dropping into the main base. The Zergling's going to press straight through, and it's going to see the Adept able to pick away at a couple of those Lings. The Oracle coming in as well, and the Zergling's going to be able to clean it up. Still just damage across the map, though, from that first Oracle. And as the Robo and Twilight comes down, the best, these Lings have picked up a little bit of information, so a little bit of info, not much more than that. And, well, going into the next stage of this here, herO has been very aggressive with these units a lot of the time recently. As you see those Zerglings gathering up together. A couple Oracles sitting out the front, a couple of extra Zealots warping in. And you will see this Nexus dropping down from herO in the next few moments. Third Nexus in a moment or so. Again, a couple Oracles gathered together. The Templar Archives dropping down here as well from our Protoss. So, again, very much so expected right off that Robo in the Twilight. Doesn't want to pop the Oracle Energy unless he has to here. In the end, he will pop it on one of the Oracles just to get rid of those Lings. They're being a bit of a nuisance to get rid of that nice and quickly. He's running across over the right side. We do see the Prism actually hefting up the High Templar. So actually cancels one of them. Wasn't able to get all of them in because the Oracle wasn't there to protect it. So that actually does delay the Archon drop as well, High Templar very sadly going to try and fight against a single Zergle on the Watchtower. That doesn't go well. I mean, with the Oracle here, there's not really much need to commit in with the other Zerglings. You're not going to do enough. And the Archons now will load up and get going. So herO finally getting into this. There's a few Zerglings poking around at the front, but the Adept, it will deal a little bit of damage. Things continuing down at the bottom, and again, just a couple of Archons able to pick up this Overlord. So Overlord going down. Robo Facility is going to be finishing up in the next few moments as well as the Oracles heading all the way down to the bottom right. Zerglings still approaching the third base, but the defense is good. No opening here for herO. And Rogue will not be allowed into the bases. Oracles get 2 more drones backing away once more. And Rogue now, Roach speed and the +1 missiles. He is still building drones though, so we're not going to see anything like the super aggressive attacks from earlier. The choice is going to be some kind of further tech, and it is already being made right now. Infestation Pit. Now, I wouldn't imagine this Infestation Pit is coming down to build Infestors or Hive. It feels a bit too early for that. It feels like it's coming down to go straight into the Swarm Hosts here. So setting up into this, we see a few drones down in the natural again. Man, these Oracles are really causing chaos. And oh my god, is it really going to escape on 1 HP? Yes, it is. If the other Oracle goes into the third base for an extra drone, I mean, gotta get what you can, right? Just build up. The more damage you do, the better it is. This 1 HP Oracle has 11 kills on it, all the ones. As there we go with the Swarm Host though. Now, this game, herO might be a little bit better set up to deal with this. The last game was obviously a bit funky, a bit weird, a bit strange. He needs to make sure the Archons get kept alive. He does not want to lose too much because he cannot afford for this to get too out of control too quickly. Lings, Roaches from Rogue pressing through the center of the map. Charge is about to complete, so it's the +1 attack upgrade on that Forge, so about to be having a little bit of a stronger army here as Rogue is going to come across the map with these Roaches. Obviously the Swarm Hosts are here now too. He did cut on 63 drones, a few more now coming into play. As the Locusts get ready to go, the idea is the Locusts are going to tank for the Roaches. These units are going to swarm in and do as much damage as they can, and as the Locusts die, he's going to back away and stop fighting so that he doesn't actually lose any Roaches or any units in general. herO's going to get... oh no, herO's in a terrible position. He's going to get surrounded in. The Locust dropping on the left. And the Immortal's being microed well so far, so the Locusts do go down. That's exactly what you need. The Warp Prism micro, absolutely on point right there. You see the Roaches coming over the right side, and just going to be seeing his army pressing forwards. The Queen getting killed off already. These Roaches are on just for the complete wrong side of the map. Now, obviously some counter-attack potential perhaps, but it means they're also not going to be able to defend. Now they are going to start heading home. A new Swarm Host pops up, comes out of the natural. The Oracle got taken down already. First Swarm Host dies, no Locust popped from it. The base on the right side being evacuated with drones. The couple of Mortals actually turn and fight the Roaches. Roachron now goes down, so production is pretty much halted in terms of building up some extra stuff here. You can see the Locust dropping in, the Archons being microed backwards again exactly as needed. The Archon splash damage on those Locusts is absolutely essential as well to get rid of them quickly. Immortals being kept alive to deal with the Roaches afterwards. And we do see just Zealots still in the front, Immortals still looking good in numbers, and they are just chunking their way through some of these low health Roaches now. And there's only Swarm Hosts left, and with only Swarm Hosts left, with no Roaches being able to be made, I mean, Zealots are going to swipe their way through Zerglings very easily. Those Swarm Hosts have to back away over to the left-hand side. And these Zealots continue to press through, and these mineral lines are going to be absolutely gutted right now. So, mineral lines are getting gutted. 20 workers already down here. These steel balls will turn and hit onto this hatchery. And we've seen the Swarm Host dropping some locusts to try and defend, but, I mean, if you just kite away here as herO, you just clean up the rest of this. I mean, even if you lose this army, you can go back home and rebuild and just go again. herO takes down game 2, and we're tied up in this series. Tied up 1-1. First to 4 points here advances through to the grand finals, guaranteeing themselves at least $600 of prize money. And we have Zest and Sue in the other semi-final here. Some actually crazy good matches in this tournament today. So glad that you can join me for it. Let's see what happens. Drawing going to come down to the left side here as the hatch gas pool gets started. It's Rogue in the top left, it's herO in the bottom right. And we're on Myungyoung Seije, which is the largest map in this pool of maps. So again, we might have to lock ourselves in here and get ready for this, because we are going to be kicking off into potentially a very long one, depending on how the players decide to play it. Now, unlike the other maps, when the inhibitor zones are kind of positioned to slow people from, crossing, going across the map and slowing the rush distance, on here the inhibitor zones much more kind of focus around the idea of, hey, I'm going to kind of make the inhibitor zones determine where the fights should happen, and kind of make you pick your fights very carefully. We haven't really seen much use of them still, I don't think they've been that influential. I think that's been pretty true on the majority of maps. Like, obviously they've been slowing down rush distances, but that's been about it. We haven't seen many fights happen around them, haven't seen many fights forced within them or anything like that, so they're kind of a cool feature, and I still want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not sure if they're going to be something that we see on the ladder. Yeah, so these red domes, these are the inhibitor zones I was just talking about. They are movement slowing. They don't slow attack speed of units, but they slow ground and air units by 35% when moving through them. So it's just a movement slow. It's one of the things that got introduced for this Team Liquid map contest tournament, and they are, again, it's something like every single map contest we have a little bit of a crazier challenge where map makers are meant to do something a little bit different, and this was it this time. And again, like, sometimes it's a pretty hit and miss. Last time the neutral missile turrets were a big miss. They were definitely no. I wouldn't say these have been as unsuccessful as the missile turret maps. I think in general these maps have been pretty cool, actually. Just yeah, these little zones are pretty brutal. So I don't know, like, I just don't feel like they've changed the maps too much either, though. Like, I feel like this map would play very similarly if these zones weren't around, and I think that's why it's just sort of fallen a little bit flat for me personally. Now, obviously, on some of the other maps, the maps would play a lot more aggressively, perhaps, because the inhibitor zones are slowing down attack paths. So, it's a bit different. But then again, then you're just kind of trying to get a smaller map and just trying to make a smaller map, which is kind of cool too, right? You get a smaller map overall without the rush distance being too crazy small, so that can create some interesting dynamics as well, perhaps. So yeah, again, like, it's something that I feel like you have to see a lot of to really make judgment on. For me, though, I just haven't seen anything amazing come from them for the most part. A lot of drones here from Rogue as he plays heavy into the workers. Proxy Stargate comes in. And proxying the Stargate just means you have the Atlas Oracles a little bit earlier. Rogue actually has it here plenty of times. So 2 drones down. But obviously the Oracle taking quite a bit of damage. You can see, double Twilight Cancel. A little bit of a mistake there by herO. Okay, so obviously just forgot that he built the first one. He needs to cancel that. Does he think that's a robo? That'd be really bad if he thinks that's a robo. Oh no, I think he does think it's a robo as well. Oh, that's going to be... Well, no, he has a robo. So he has just built double Twilight Council completely by mistake here. Huh. Oh, Warpism, 5 gates in the Twilight. There's the Temple Archives. Yeah, I just don't think you've realized he built this first Twilight at all. Okay, well, a little bit of a mistake there as we see Rogue coming across the map. I mean, obviously, it's a little bit of gas and minerals that you invest that you don't need, but it's not going to be super game ending right away, as obviously we're setting up in towards this Archon drop here. Hydra's Den dropping down from Rogue. Just getting that started up at the moment, as we see the couple of Zealots pushing in. And those Zerglings just going to be chased away up through the top side of the map. Do the inhibitor zones slow the disruptor kind of attacks? I don't think so, because they don't slow adept shades either, because those aren't real units. They're like holograms or like a sign of what's happening. So I'm pretty sure they won't change too much. There's a few links from Rogue pulling back a little bit. Oracle flying up through the top. Observer flying overhead as well, and that Warp Prism still heading down to the bottom right-hand side. Again, that Stargate about to finish. 12 more Hydras about to pop up, as well as a Roach Warren. So, you're going to see Rogue with a lot of production here shortly. Again, was focused on those Hydras initially, but changing it up into a Roach Hydra style in the long run. Although might still go fairly Hydra heavy for a little while, just build up those numbers early. And then add the Roaches as needed a little bit later on. Roach speed already starting, as those runners do find those Zealots, so Zealots going down. Immortal now being produced with a +1 attack and the charge. You do see these couple of Archons pressing in, and a couple of Creep Tumors getting picked off as well, as we see the Archons lifting up, moving over towards the main base. Dropping on down means that we're going to be seeing the Hydras, a couple of shots, nothing crazy. These Archons have been fairly unsuccessful this game. As we're going to be seeing, again, the Rogue is on the way up. Now, Rogue's only on 59 drones, so it looks like he wants to just end this game quick. Doesn't want to mess around, just wants to get across the map, start closing this out. Zerglin's still hanging around in the bottom right-hand side. The extra Hydras coming across the map now as well. Oh, the Warp Prism with Archons goes down. That's huge, because now it's even less to defend with for herO. Storm's only halfway done, so Rogue is getting to the point now where he's just going to have too much. Yeah, herO doesn't have Storm, he doesn't have units, he lost the Archons. There we go. Thank you so much, Stippler. Thank you so much, Amnemnotron, for the love. Much appreciated as we go into game number 4. Bottom right-hand side, our blue Zerg. And Jinair Green Wings, we have got Rogue. Top left, our couple of probes. And Chrono boosted out is herO. So yeah, after this series, we're going to be having Sue versus Zest, another ZvP. And then we're going to have our grand final afterwards as well. So we still have a good little bit of StarCraft coming up for you guys today. At least a couple of hours, if not a bit more. So we'll keep you entertained through to WCS and into WCS as well. So yeah, looking forward to having you guys along with me. Overlord of Rogue going to be heading in towards the upper left side, as we see the probe just moving around on the bottom right. Spawning pool extractor coming up here in the early stages. Just getting set to go, as you see that Nexus dropping down. And, well, the question is, does herO find the correct wall-off here? And I think the answer is already no. If you want to wall off properly, you go gate, gate, core along this pathway here. So he is going for the longer wall-off, which is going to cost him a little bit. People just, yeah, can't figure out this wall-off, man. I don't think we've seen a single correct wall-off on this map in the entire tournament so far. And we've seen a lot of ZvPs on this map, including the crazy one between Zest and Impact, where Zest's micro was just insane. If you saw that clip on Reddit, it was truly crazy how that went. Overlord hanging out on the natural as the Stargate gets started here once again from herO, so no nonsense from him. Still just opening in the same old way, and I mean, again, there's so many different transitions you can do off the Stargate and stuff like that. As you do see the Nexus just about to finish up here from herO, so Stargate just has a lot of transitions. It keeps you safe going in towards the third base, and I feel like when you're down in the series especially, a nice standard safe game is kind of what you look for a lot of the time. And so rocking that Stargate, you know, it's a good time to keep on doing it. Now, I feel if herO goes down 3-1 in this series and Rogue goes on the match point, maybe herO starts grasping at claws a little bit, and he's sort of like, okay, well, let's actually maybe try something a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more all-in. Maybe I go for something completely different, like a Resonating Glaives opening, and little things like that. Obviously, go quite a long way, so definitely watching out for a couple of things like this. As you do see those couple pros coming into the mineral line. Feelings and Queens on the way out. So get this going. What's up, Wush, in the chat as well? How you doing today, buddy?
Well, it sounds like it'll be a long night. Be sure to give yourself a few minutes to stretch and such. Yeah, you know, honestly, going pretty well. We're coming up to 3 hours into the stream. I would say we're about halfway through as well. Another best 7 and best 9 coming up after this. Obviously, this best 7 could only be 2 more maps long. It could be 4 more maps long as well. So, yeah, it's we're getting along already, which is cool. Some good games so far. Been enjoying it. Hopefully, you guys have been as well. Some funky sounds on these maps, I'll tell you that much. There's been some real maps which have just come in with some real funkiness, honestly. Some like beeps and boops and just weird noises in general as we do see the couple of lings coming in. We get one probe, the adepts try and chase them down, letting the lings in the first place. Kind of just happens on this map if you don't wall off correctly. Euro has not walled off correctly, so just be careful of that. Please make sure it doesn't continue to happen. Couple probes getting picked off there as the Zergling's still running around. The Adept and the Zealot coming in to push that Zergling the way that Zergling goes. So being pushed off into the distance. Again, we just wait to see what does come in next. Fourth hatchery drops down from Rogue, so getting that 4th base up and running. A couple of crew teamers heading out to the left-hand side, one coming up straight to the center. The Phoenix able to pick away at a few of the drones as well, so a few drones already dropping down. The Overlord getting picked away at as well. Good first little bits of damage with these Phoenix. It's actually a little bit interesting to go into the Phoenix off the double Stargate, because it is a star that was around for quite a little while. And then it definitely kind of died off, and nothing really changed before it kind of came back into fashion, and now it's all the rage, and people are like, oh my god, double Stargate Phoenix, I love it, it goes so well. Due to the, it's going to straight into that 3rd base which is being built. Drops the force field, doesn't really help. The probe manages to drop the shield battery just before it goes down, and actually is able to get away. That was actually really sick control of the probe. The shield battery ends up blocking the lings away, so the probe survives. That was actually sick. Such a small little thing. Very nicely done as we see the Oracle jumping on towards a few of those Zerglings. Again, quite a lot of damage done already. There's a bunch of those Zerglings going down. Bane and Nest dropping in from Rogue as well. Another hatchery in the main base. Again, those 4 bases of Rogue set up pretty well so far as you see the Zerglings coming forwards here. hero's just building extra gateways now, so he's just looking to turn this into a big old all-in. The Lings are going to find it, though, so he sees those gates, and that's a really good scout then. Obviously now Rogue knows what he's up against, and he can begin to prepare for it. He'll be done with drones at 60. Now he just builds up units. Now he only has Lings in production at the moment. He is going to have +1 melee. Might be able to keep up a couple of counterattacks to buy some time, because he's also heading in towards that Bane Nest about to finish up. That's going to be very important here. And as well, the Roaches, they can build very soon, although it does need more Overlords. One more about to pop, but could do with 1 or 2 more than that, actually, just to free up supply for those Roaches, which are generally very supply expensive. Phoenix come in and will find themselves a few drones. Now the third Nexus drops down from Hero, so as he goes up to 7 gates, he will expand, but we'll see if he actually uses it, of course. I mean, currently not building any probes. I kind of don't think he will, right? Like, yes, there's a third base, but unlikely to actually see that happen. Phoenix picking up a few more drones in the back of this natural. Actually, again, a bunch of damage done. So Rogue dropping quite heavily in the workers. As he starts up more Lings, more Roaches. I think he knows that just producing units right now is the correct decision. There's a couple of Archons stuck behind the wall off here still. Also fairly amusing as we see the Zerglings out into the middle of the map. Another Archon also being brought in, extra Roaches being built. And we still just have extra pylons on the right side, so hero's kind of setup here is a bit wonky, it's a bit weird. He is going to end up pushing across the map though. The Prism lifted up those 2 Archons that were stuck behind the wall off. And here we go. I mean, obviously has to push on to creep. The Phoenix are going to probably end up looping around to try and help out. Army supply 96 to 69. I mean, this is starting to be just the setup for Rogue, right? Where he's been building up units for so long here. He's looking pretty great already. And here we go. Roaches already set up pretty nicely. Lings are going to start running forwards. Now they back away. Being a little bit careful about this. Here we go. Banes are going to crash into the Zealots, and since the Archons are going to be left on their own. And that's absolutely huge. If the Lings get a good swing around, the Roaches are doing wonders. And now the Queen's getting dropped back down by the Phoenix. They can push those back as well. And Heroes said Rogue going to go up onto match point. see those Lings and Roaches continuing forwards. James Paul and Grove, one map away from the grand point. One map away then from making it to the grand finals. Top right hand side, our blue Protoss player. This is herO. Down to the bottom left hand side, our red Zerg from Jinair Green Wings. We have got Rogue. So game number 5 here as we kick this off. Get this rolling. Look to see what's going to happen as we get into the action. Again, the other semi-finals, Zest and Sue are going to play a best of 7 when this series wraps up. And then we have that series and the finals remaining. So far so good, everything going to schedule as well. And here we are on Lost Aversion from map number 5. Be nice to see herO take a game or two just so we get to see a couple of the extra maps. Heatwave and I believe it is... I forget actually. Heatwave and Disco Bloodbath are the maps that remain in the map pool for this series. So it would be one of those two next. If we get that, let's see if herO can make something work. This map has been generally pretty interesting with these minerals off to the side. Some players decided to mine them out to get this bit of a safer third base. A bit more easily held. Some players just happy to take the third base down here. I mean, typically that's what Zergs will do because taking that bottom, you know, they don't have the time to mine out these minerals before it's time to take the third base, basically. So Zergs will generally do this. But we saw, for example, MC mining through here to kind of open up the pathway into this mineral into this base and some stuff like that. We do have the Stalker just popping in, and it is going to start throwing some shots off onto the Overlord. So Overlord taking some damage, just gets pushed up to the high ground, and will of course stay alive for the moment. Oh, just needs to actually position correctly on the high ground. Actually, didn't hold position either, so does need to be careful about that. Another Overlord up here as well. There's a Robo facility very quickly here from herO, so a very fast Robo going to be also followed by a Twilight Council. If a Robo this quick wants to be super aggressive, only 2 workers in each gas as well, means he's really reluctant to kind of build too much more kind of gate, you know, too much more kind of tech here. It looks as though as he starts to charge, probably will want to pull out of gas completely and just go straight in towards a ton of Zealots and just go for this pure Zealot Immortal all in. Zerg trying to scout, Rogue will not get that info, will lose the Overlord. Making a few Lings, poking at the front, and you just see the Immortal, so that's obviously pretty big information for him as well. Knowing the Immortal is up. Now what would be really huge would be, I mean, scout on the gases over here. An Overlord in the back here would be nice as well to peek in and just see, oh, you don't have gas on your natural, because usually that would be taken by now. So that would be a pretty big scout as well. Rogue could fly this Overlord just through the natural and sacrifice it to see what's going on. He's going straight up into a lair, which really I don't think bodes well for him, because he has nothing to defend with. Building drones, building the lair. This is not looking pretty. As the Warp Prism here now as well. I mean, he has to build something, though, because he sees the Immortal, he sees the Warp Prism. He has to know that this alone is not going to do this. He saves the Overlord by force of Zerglings. But again, I mean, there's no way this Immortal doesn't come across the map. Rotoran drops in now, but he's still building drones. And I think to deal with this sort of attack, you stop at 40 to 45 workers. But what he's going to go beyond 40, before that, blah, 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 I can't talk. He's going to go beyond that. He's going to be at least 50. 54 right now as he starts to make extra units to deal with this. And I think he's just realizing a little bit too late what's going on right here. He's stalking them all, dropping in the low ground. There's the big Zealot warp in. Arrow definitely knows what's up. The Lings will pull away. The Roaches will start to reproduce, but this is going to be, before Roaches are out, there's going to be 14 Zealots in this base. I mean, this is the first, well, I think that's 16 probably, because there's already 8 here. So, already 8 warped in. You're going to try and hold the ramp. I mean, a better position to hold, so the Zealots can't get much of a surround on the Queens, etc. But there we go. The next set of Zealots warps in, 8 more. And again, before the Roaches are even out, these Zealots are stacking up into crazy, crazy numbers. And this is going to be so difficult for Rogue to hold on to. I don't know if Rogue is going to be able to hold on at all, as you see. I mean, extra drones going down, 9-10. Workers killed here. Zealots keep on charging around. Rogue completely caught off guard there, was not aware. Heatwave spicing up a little bit the way the players are going at each other's throats. I mean, there is no room for error. One missed scout, and the game ends just like that. As we have to the bottom right-hand side, the blue Protoss. This is herO from TSG Gaming. As more and more players starting to join Chinese teams. Top left, our red Zerg player from Jin Green Wings, Rogue. Okay, so Rogue Hero game number 6, and well, Heatwave, another one of these macro-focused maps, so definitely a bit larger. Obviously, that doesn't sometimes stop the pros players from being super aggressive, though, with the way they can warp in across the map and so on. Might deter Rogue from going in towards a bit of an attack, though, because we have seen him be fairly aggressive with a couple of larger attacks, although he still did that on Mungyong Seje, which is a huge map, so not like that's a guaranteed thing either here. So hatchery dropping down, the spawning pool coming up, and a couple of drones popping out. Game getting established in these early stages as we look to see what's going to happen. A couple of drones going to be jumping into that extractor in a moment or two. Just a couple of drones jumping right on in there. And just need to see that Nexus from herO coming in on the natural expansion. Again, we've seen a lot of early game ZvP so far today, guys, so it gets to that sort of point where there's only so much you can really say about it. The only downside I would say of today is that we have got a lot of ZvP, because we've got another ZvP coming up after this as well. Now, I don't mind. I still think it's pretty cool and so on, but it doesn't mean that I start repeating myself a lot in the early stages. So just going to take a moment to chill out and say, again, hello to you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are enjoying the casting and the stream, this is what I do pretty much every single day. Now, I say that with the next 2 weeks being a bit up in the air because there's going to be Katowice coming up, a major championship in StarCraft that lasts a whole week. And the lead up to that, a lot of players don't want to play and stuff, but I do generally try and stream every day. And if you want to check me out in the future, do hit that follow button, and you can see when we're going live. The following is definitely the best way to see when I'm going live, because the schedule is a little bit haywire. It depends on what events we're running, what games we can catch and stuff like that. So it's definitely a little crazy in that regard. So yeah, check it out though, and thank you so much already for everyone tuning in today. We've already had a bunch of followers today, so do keep it up, much appreciated. Just gonna be seeing the depth here. Just gonna be putting out a little bit more damage between taking some shots. New Zerglings coming over. And a little bit of a late cannon rush here from herO. Actually being set up. I mean, how often do you see a late forge like this? It came in. I saw the forge coming in with the Stargate. I was like, okay, interesting. We're gonna get an early upgrade. I thought we'd talk about it in a moment too. He's actually trying to cannon rush the third base. I mean, it just doesn't work. And he ends up cancelling. Now has he just built that forge for no reason at all? Like, is he gonna get +1? That was interesting, and it almost feels like it nearly worked, but it didn't quite come up. So, well, now what? Now herO's just built a forge and a bunch of cannons for nothing. And I love Rogue's response to this. He says, you know what? You've invested some money into something that's not going to really help you here. So I'm going to go and, well, counter Baneling Bust you. I actually think it's a great choice. Now, Rogue's going to get a little bit of supply block here against the Lings fighting through the front. Oracle turned away from the undefended main because of the fact these Lings arrived on the other side. That's a very mature decision out of herO, because it's so tempting to say, okay, look how much damage I can do here. Instead he pulls back, and that's great for him. Now this pylon wall on the right side is very weak, and that's exactly where the Banelings are going to look to go. A couple of Lings peel away. Obviously wants to try and move those Banes out of reach of the Oracle, so the Oracle can't cancel them. Most of them in this bottom corner. Another Zergling there getting found. Those Zerglings are going to run forward, so the Oracle going to busy itself with that, so the Banes will get to come up here. The Oracle, having its pulsar being active for so long, has used up a lot of that energy. So it has enough though, as the Banes are going to be found, so herO's still scouting around for them. We'll get them in a moment. Second Oracle coming in as well. However, now the Zerglings are kind of free to take their way through this pylon. However, there is a sentry here. Banes will hit that pylon on the left side, but then the force field comes in, but the Lings go through because he used the force field on the left rather than the right. He didn't build up the gateway, and he means he doesn't get the wall off, and so now the Lings streaming into the main, and the Oracles are pretty much out of energy, so they can't even do much more to defend. Two more Lings in the low ground. There's a cannon here to help out. Obviously, we have a weird situation. How often do you see a cannon in this scenario? Very rarely, as the Oracle that pops out goes for a couple of the Banes. I mean, now the cannon getting surrounded on the shield battery out of energy. Oracle still helping out a little bit. Another force field dropping down. Lings still around. Probes running around in circles. They're not mining. That's one of the big issues here. Oh no, the Baneling, oh my god, got lifted, but it still goes down. He splashes the probes.
Extra Bane's morphing in, and as Layers stream on through, it looks like Rogue will have enough to shut this down. All of these probes continue to drop here on Heatwave. Some very aggressive games in this semi-final matchup. It's going to see Rogue taking it 4-2. GG. I mean,